Now, have you worked out your plans for 2 weeks tomorrow? The coronation quiche, have you got all the ingredients ready? Family and friends over for the day to watch GB News and see all the glory of what's going on down in London? Or are you brave enough to try to head to London to see the King?
Now, this is miraculous, but apparently it should be going pretty smoothly, at least if you're heading in on the trains. That's according to rail bosses. But does that sound too good to be true? Potentially, I think. We're joined now by the man who knows, Simon Calder. Good morning to you, Simon.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, I'm fine, and I've got a proper cup of tea. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How did you take it?
Oh, same as you.
That's
exactly,
proper builders, yeah.
Forgive me.
Builders,
yes.
any sugar in there?
No.
Sweet enough?
Ah, good.
But, yes, well, we find out today if there are going to be any strikes. I think it is extraordinarily unlikely, but, of course, they have to give 14 days' notice, the RMT union or the ASLEF, the train drivers' union. Talks are advancing, so I think you can park the possibility of strikes. I don't think that's going to happen. Very few engineering works over the weekend. There's a bit of trouble going in and out of London Victoria on the Sunday, on the day after the coronation. But actually, the rail industry is stepping up. They're putting on extra trains. You'll be able to leave, for example, Cardiff very early on Saturday morning, around about 5. That'll get you into London Paddington in a couple of hours. And then you've got the day there, last train out shortly before 9 o'clock. And that's kind of repeated for a lot of cities around the UK. Of course, you might be flying into one of the London airports, particularly if you're coming from Northern Ireland.
Problem.
Well, actually, flying into the airports is fine. Flying out of Heathrow Terminal 5, we have some industrial action going on, but maybe we'll come on to that.
Well, yeah, but that's going on that's quite a long stretch, isn't it? 4th, 5th, 6th, 9th, 10th, 25th, 26th, 27th.
Yeah, OK, so this is the Unite Union, security staff, 1,400 of them working at London Heathrow Terminal 5. Now, this only affects Heathrow, it only affects Terminal 5, so any other Heathrow terminal, any other airport, there is not going to be anything to do with this current dispute. Now, what we will see is that actually British Airways will be cancelling about 5% of its schedule, I predict. This strike is aimed... We have the 10-day strike, you might remember, building up to Easter Sunday. That was just kind of a blanket strike, didn't have that much effect, partly because BA was told by Heathrow, cancel 1 in 20 flights, and if you do that, will relieve pressure on the security search area. That seemed to go quite well. But what the Unite Union has done this time in its campaign to get more pay for its workers is really to target the key times when lots of people, families, or indeed foreign visitors returning home after the coronation, target those times in order to try to have maximum effect.
So there's an argument to say, is there, if you are... because a lot of people watching us from overseas, a lot of Brits are overseas, if they are heading back, it might be worth booking the return flights out of another London airport, even perhaps further afield. If the trains are all right, you can get back up there.
Well, fortunately, the European passenger rights rules are absolutely firmly on your side. If yours is one of the small number of British Airways flights which is cancelled, then it's not your problem, it's British Airways' problem. So, for example, yesterday I flew in from Dusseldorf. There was a strike there. They cancelled half the flights. So they sent bigger planes, basically, to get us all out. And they will be doing things like that to try to help passengers. Or indeed, if they're not flying you from Terminal 5 on British Airways, you move to Terminal 2 and fly on Eurowings. So there's all sorts of things that they can do, but it's down to them to sort out a flight for you. I certainly wouldn't be going around booking other flights. The main problem actually is going to be if you haven't booked yet and you think, oh, let's go to London for the coronation, you might well find that particularly coming back, it's very difficult to find flights at an affordable fare.
Right.
And for people who are flying in for the coronation and they're staying in London, what's the hotel situation looking like?
It looks like the best time that the hotels have ever had, I think. The sorts of rates that I'm seeing, which for some fancier hotels, well over £1,000, and those.
What, a night?
Yeah. Oh, yes, and they're selling at that. Yeah, and people are paying it.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's. They would say it's not incredible at all. It's a great city to be in. It's a fantastic time to be there, and that's what the price is. But for kind of normal people, even the budget hotels, I mean, for instance, around kind of the Waterloo area on the South Bank near the London Eye, there's dozens of budget hotels, and they're doing very nicely, prices creeping towards £300 for a night, but almost all rooms sold there. So the thing to do is actually to stay out of town and travel in. And my top tip is Woolwich in southeast London, because that's now on the...
there last weekend?
You see, yes. It's on the Elizabeth line. It's about
a lovely
20...
time,
In a budget hotel, yeah.
20 minutes to the West End. It's very, very good. And one step beyond that, Abbey Wood, they've got a lovely campsite. There we are.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's one way of doing it.
Camp for the Coronation.
Why is it that tea is so bad on trains?
It's not... Look, for goodness sake, tea is... Well, partly because you have less than optimal water being wheeled down the carriage, OK? Right. So, therefore, it's only going to be about sort of 80, 85 degrees. That is no good, OK? I've just come back, Stephen, from Germany. Yeah. I don't think it would be unreasonable to break off diplomatic relations with any country that serves tea where you get this sort of tepid glass of water and a tea bag
on the
side. You're left to get on with it, and you have to go and kind of fight your corner to get some milk. So no, it's a trade. I take a cup of British Rail tea any time over most foreign tea. The only countries which can do tea, of course, are the UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and India.
And China. Presumably.
Oh well, yeah, but that's different kind of tea.
Different kind of tea.
And do you, because you're a man who obviously does a lot of travel, do you pack tea bags?
Oh, yes,
Are you one of
I
these
do.
people?
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, of course, because wherever you are in the world, you want a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And yes, I do. And I take pride in taking tea and enjoying it in the comfort of my hotel room. But again, my German hotel room didn't have any kettles. But it was very cheap.
Disgraceful. Well, tea expert and occasional traveller Simon Calder, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you this morning.